lot of nuts!
Hey, welcome back, hyenas, to the Spodcast, and today we're complaining about YouTube. But Sumito, hasn't every episode been about complaining about YouTube? Do you guys do anything other than bitch about your job? No! It is my God-given right to bitch about every aspect of my job so long as I'm not a millionaire. And I'm not, so I will. But to be fair, this is ever so slightly different from a number of the other reasons why you'll find a lot of YouTubers complaining about YouTube. This particular change seems to be affecting people that have absolutely no reason to be affected. This is not a change that has been affecting only the edgiest, most drama-laden YouTube creators, not the people who get themselves into conflicts or stir up the pot. No, this seems to be affecting the most child-friendly YouTubers you could imagine, the most advertiser-friendly YouTubers that you can imagine, and worse, it seems to involve AI. Are you interested now? There have been a number of changes on the YouTube platform that YouTube hasn't exactly been the most vocal about. However, the one that they have been very vocal about is the introduction of AI and auto dubbing. Basically, YouTube, aside from making a patch notes newsletter announcement saying that they are introducing a new feature that will allow people to automatically translate their title and their video description and automatically dub your video in another language using AI voice recognition and dubbing, introduced a feature that made it so that some people who resided in countries with other predominant languages like India or I guess China or something maybe. I have had a few comments of people going, yo, I live in India. I click your videos to watch them in English. Suddenly I noticed that the title of this one was in Hindi or Urdu or Bengali or whatever, and your voice was completely different. It seems like YouTube has introduced automatic dubbing, changing your voice and making it so that you are the native speaker of whatever language I'm talking to, which in technology sounds pretty dope, but overall, like, when you're an established creator, like, people know that you speak English, and a lot of people who live in other countries prefer to listen in English, and I can't imagine all of my jokes translate into fucking Mandarin or Swahili. After realizing that YouTube had automatically turned on this toggle for my channel and seeing that comment, I immediately turned it off. But the other thing to keep in mind, because that bit's actually kind of cool if you want it, the other thing is that because YouTube is now, you know, like previously they would be like, well, let's not recommend, I don't know, Sumito Media or whomever to these channels that clearly don't listen to English speaking channels. Well, now they're trying to push your channel out into channels that speak other languages. So I'm getting recommended in front of people who don't know who I am, have never watched a video about any of the topics I'm talking about, automatically dubbed in another language with it, if I'm being honest, is a bad, it doesn't sound good. It dramatically lowers the production quality from my natural cadence and rhythm and voice and jokes and enunciation to just bland robot AI voice. Like, it's stupid even if it was a good translation, but it's probably not a good translation. And now you find yourself recommended in people who don't give a fuck about you. Who could have guessed that the numbers would be bad as a result? I'm sure Mr. Beast doesn't care. I'm sure videos that already barely have any voicing to it, like animation or toy reviews or whatever, don't care. But for people who are doing commentary, whose actual voice and the language they're speaking has some subtlety to it, and it's a little bit important that internet news and YouTube updates and memes kind of reach the English-speaking audience of which they are contrived from, it's not a feature that's super helpful to me, and I at the very least wish YouTube would have asked or not turned it on by default, because that's kind of gross. So it looks like YouTube didn't stop there with their introduction of AI and just implementing things without asking anybody if they want for it, and that brings us to the topic of today's video, which is the YouTube restricted mode, I think, and I'll explain that in a bit. About a week ago, I watched this video titled "YouTube is Crushing Our Viewership" by YouTuber Second Wind, and these guys basically do animated videos talking about video games, playing through them, explaining them. They have a very healthy channel. They have a very healthy Patreon. They've been making YouTube videos for quite a while, and in this 3-minute long video, they explain how YouTube has been crushing their viewership. And they basically explained that over the course of the last month or so, basically the month of August is what I'm going to keep saying for these examples, they have noticed that their views on YouTube are way down. which is interesting because they are not a channel that is my channel. So why are they bitching about their views going down? I thought I was the only one doing that, but it turns out no. It might not be just in my head. It might not just be that I suck. Perhaps it's in fact YouTube made a change, and these guys seem to have a much larger channel than I do and have been doing way more views, much bigger Patreon and everything than I have. If they're suffering from it and they don't do memes or podcast or face shown things, I mean, they make pretty solid videos from what I can tell. What's going on? They take a look at their information and basically can't come to a conclusion other than something about August seems to have shot our numbers down dramatically. And that's a little bit uncommon, because typically if you see a lowered viewership than what you're used to on your YouTube channel, well, usually it's gradual over a season, a few months at least, sometimes a year or two. And that's when people can be like, well, maybe people who are watching your videos just don't watch anymore. Maybe they got sick of it, or your videos got worse. Maybe you were recommended next to much bigger channels that don't cover that topic anymore. It could be any one of a million things, who knows? And then I saw a different video. I saw this video by Linus Tech Tips and Luke on their, this is, what the fuck is their podcast called? Tech Linked? If that's wrong, I'm sorry. I forget what their podcast is called. But this is on their Clips channel titled Our Views Are Down. This was actually posted before the last video I showed you, but I saw this one recommended on Reddit where Linus basically says the same thing. And Linus's main channel is gigantic. I don't know if it's 20 or more million subscribers. He does like a video every day. They have like 5 different channels that they work on, all covering tech. They don't do edgy anything. And in this podcast, he talks with Luke about the fact that it seems that all of their views are down for August, which is scary because with a channel as large as his, uploading as many high-quality videos as they do, like, it's not even like our views are down. It's like if you look before August, you can see that their views are fine. And then something about August, which, you know, the main takeaway I want you to have here is everybody in the comments and on Reddit are like, yeah, it's because Linus isn't hosting as many videos. It's because you don't do enough Scrapyard Wars or PC builds, or you do too many members videos. And when you look at your channel page, it's just a bunch of member videos and that clogs up the feed. There's all of these incredibly Reddit ass responses trying to explain why the main Linus Tech Tips channel's views might be down, but it's pretty obvious that the reason why is because of a change from YouTube. If there are this many channels, I also watched a video by Red Letter Media saying exactly the same thing. If this many giant channels, and even a channel as small as mine, can see that our views are down for August specifically, this is a YouTube, something changed on the algorithm side, and how come none of us were told about it? What's going on? So people start to speculate. Not really speculate, because when you factor in the fact that it seems like it's a YouTube feature, it narrows down the ability to figure out what's going on pretty quickly. If YouTube's got a new feature and there isn't any sort of blog update about it, well, then it must be something that they've introduced recently. What is it? From the consensus of Second Wind, that first video by Linus Tech Tips, even Red Letter Media and a few other people, it seems to be this new feature that YouTube has added. If you click your profile picture in the top right, you can see right above my head an indicator that says restrictive mode, and it's described as, this helps hide potentially mature videos, no filters, 100% accurate. The setting only applies to this browser. Now, if you take a look at my channel, you can see all of the videos that I've uploaded in the last month or two, starting with the Trisha Paytas celebrity conspiracy video, the CEO being fired for getting caught at the Coldplay thing, and then all the videos that I've started doing that are more podcasting and don't have me standing up, right? If I click on this restricted mode toggle, it reloads my channel, and now every single video from the last 6 weeks are gone. Every single one of them. You could say the restrictive mode should have gotten rid of videos like the CEO from Coldplay getting caught. Maybe I made one too many cuck jokes, or perhaps it's an Elon Musk related thing, or all the videos talking about censorship on the internet. That's sort of what a lot of the, you know, we're losing the Goon Wars videos have come from. But like, I also did podcast episodes, or I'm calling them podcast episodes now. I also did talking head videos talking about stuff like smurfing in League of Legends. Sorry, is that one not appropriate for children? The video where I talk about hating internet historian ads, that didn't actually have anything that would have gotten censored. I don't overly swear or anything like that. Mouthwashing getting banned, maybe. The Trisha Paytas celebrity baby conspiracy, like, I understand child meme turns to OnlyFans, like, maybe a filter grabs that, but like the latest episode of the Spodcast also gets caught. I'm going to turn that filter back on. That even gets caught. None of these things have a cohesion. None of these things are overly risque, specifically critical about anything on the internet or YouTube specifically. None of them have anything about them that make me think, hey, there's a reason this thing should be censored. There's no reoccurring pattern. Rather, it just seems to be every video in August, and as a result, the most recent available video on my channel, if restricted mode is turned on, is from 2 months ago. If I take a look at Linus's channel and I do the same thing, so I currently have restricted mode on, right? You can see, do I currently have restricted mode on? It doesn't affect any of the videos from the last week. He has all of his videos available. If I take a look at Red Letter Media, same situation. If you click on their videos tab and you have restricted mode on, 4 months ago. 4 months ago is the last video that's available if you turn on restricted mode. I don't know how often they upload, but that video from 4 months ago is at least 20 or 25 videos that are being hidden if you have restricted mode on. And again, we just took a look at Linus Media Group, who says that they also noticed this lack of viewership, but their channel is unaffected by restricted mode, at least right now. And Linus does have the ability to talk to YouTube directly and ask them what's going on, so maybe his channel has been remedied of this specifically. But the timeline's about the same. Something about August, and it seems like the introduction of this restricted mode or some sort of filter, probably AI that YouTube is doing, is being overly aggressive and censoring videos from showing up in your recommended feeds. Those videos that don't show up on my channel, I'm just pretending to be a viewer. This means you haven't been seeing any of the videos from some of your favorite creators, even if you're subscribed to them, because YouTube might have automatically clicked on this restricted button. And that's kind of shitty, because that's not something you can undo. If you decide to introduce that feature, don't tell anybody about it, and now suddenly even gigantic channels suddenly see a massive drop in viewership just because you didn't fucking internally test it. That hurts all of our paychecks for kind of no reason, because why are viewers who are subbed to a channel not getting served the videos from that channel? That doesn't even make sense, YouTube. So Linus releases a follow-up clip from The WAN Show. I remember the name of their podcast now. Where they have their producer take a look at all of the numbers from the last decade or something crazy, right? Because they've been making videos for a very long time. They've been making the same niche of videos for a very long time. It doesn't make any sense for basically overnight, in the grand scheme of things, for their views to be dropping by like 1 million or more per video when nothing major has changed, right? And what they discovered is that there's a number of different anomalies when you take a look at the information when it's plotted on a graph. For one, the number of likes per view, as in the overall number of likes compared to the number of views the video is getting, is significantly higher. So videos that have 100,000 views and might normally get 50,000 likes, if they're getting reduced down to 50,000 views, they're still getting like 40,000 likes, just random numbers out here, right? But they're getting way more likes compared to the number of views that they get, and evidently from the way that it looks, they're getting about as many likes as before. Even though their videos used to do, let's say, 1 million views, and now they're doing 700,000 views, even though they're seeing their viewership drop by 30%, they're actually seeing their likes stay about the same. And as a result, makes it so that their likes per view are much, much higher, because they're keeping the same amount of likes but getting less views, right? And that is basically, they go into this, and they don't say what my extrapolation of this data is from too much, but they do sort of touch on it, which is that they feel like it might be that YouTube is more directly serving videos to more engaged viewers. That's their first thought, is if we're getting the same amount of likes as before, but the views are getting lower, And it feels like we're actually getting more likes per view as a result, which is kind of a confusing thing. It seems as though they're getting about the same likes as before the view drop. They're just getting less views. It seems as though what YouTube is doing is not seemingly indiscriminately not recommending the video to, 30% more people, but rather it's not serving the video to less engaged viewers. At the very least, it's not serving the video to people who don't typically like a video, because if the likes are staying the same as before when you had 30% more views, we can pretty easily assume that means that everybody who was liking before is still liking, because the likes are about the same, which means everybody who is an engaged viewer, or at the very least somebody who clicks like, is still getting the video. And it seems as though YouTube is actually culling, removing, or not suggesting videos to less engaged viewers. And that might be as simple as people who don't click like. They might have changed the definition of a view from people who autoplay from one video to the next. Maybe they're no longer counting that as a view. Who knows? But that's a bit of an anomaly. You would expect that if everybody's views were going down, their likes would be going down, because there's less people watching, there should be less people clicking, but that is not true. Also, another piece of information that they pull up is the amount of money that they're making from these views is higher per view, which again is, they say it kind of confusingly, they seem to be making the same amount of money. That's kind of crazy, right? You would expect that if somebody was going into YouTube and was making 1 million views a month, and the next month they made 500,000 views, or like 700,000 views, they would be making 30% less money. Doesn't seem to be the case. Their RPM, which is the amount of money you make per view, basically, is higher, almost directly to the point where it basically compensates for the amount of viewership that they're getting. And as a result, it's like, what does that mean? How do you get 30% less views and somehow still end up making about the same amount of money? Your first thought might be bots. My first thought is bots. I mean, who watches a YouTube video but doesn't actually count towards having an ad served to them or something like that? Are we blocking everybody who isn't watching ads? We know the overall viewership on YouTube isn't down, right? Just last month, they said that YouTube has more views on shorts than TikTok, which is a crazy number. So no, people watching YouTube videos are just as high as they have ever been, and Linus's channels all do shorts and clips and long forms and members videos and podcast. Like, he does everything, right? But this is a weird fucking number. Why would YouTube continue to pay about the same amount of money for less views? What is it about this 30% of viewership that's just disappeared overnight, seemingly have minimal impact on revenue and likes for? What is this ghost ass audience that YouTube has discovered and suddenly killed with a knife? So there's a couple consensuses that I can draw that seem to fit all the data points decently, but like at the end of the day, the answer is that we don't know, and that's kind of the important thing to take away from this. But I think it's possible that YouTube might be doing something to try to only push videos to more engaged viewers. If there is a 30% amount of people that for whatever reason are watching a video and as a result counting as a view, however, they're not liking and aren't being served an ad, which I'm not exactly sure how you would do that. I mean, maybe you have an ad blocker and you never click like, maybe, right? If you can just delete 30% of people from watching a video and not impact that creator's ability to make money on the existing 70%, but also somehow raise the amount of money they have on that 70% to where they're making about the same amount of money, that's a teeny bit crazy, but it's possible. Perhaps you take away the bots or the people who aren't seeing ads or pressing like, and perhaps as a result, you can raise the amount of money that the ads go for, because you can be like, hey, we just got rid of 30% of views that we're never seeing an ad. You have to pay 30% more for the people that we can now guarantee are seeing an ad, and that compensates for it. Sure, it's possible. It feels a little bit crazy that YouTube would implement something like that overnight. However, and Linus says the opposite of this, it does absolutely affect your sponsored rates. Because when you're working with a sponsor, they don't care if you have engaged views. They never ask how long somebody's watching, how many likes your videos get. They specifically care how many people click the video, with my sponsors, I have minimums. The reason you've never seen me do a second integration with some sponsors is because my video didn't do enough views for them to be like, yeah, we'll send you another $500, do another one. They're like, no, we get way more views from these other channels for the $500 we would spend you. Fuck you. We're going to go work with them. If YouTube overnight suddenly decides to change what a view is, and we're all just going to have to accept that or not even all of us, some of us are going to have to accept that 30% less views is the new normal, sponsors don't adjust immediately. They're going to be like, you get 30% less views. If your videos don't get 100,000 views on average and they're getting 70,000 views, we're paying you for 70,000 views. We're not going to pay you for 100K. That's going to shoot small creators in the fucking dick, bro. There's plenty of YouTubers I've seen that have like 100, 200 subs, 200,000 subs, and they do like one sponsor a month. And you know damn well that sponsor's paying like half their rent, right? Like they are very dependent on that one sponsor a month. If that's gone or if that goes down, add this to the list of shit that I have bitched about with YouTube being incredibly anti-creator with the way that they make these changes. Linus says that they are such a big channel and have had like 10-year-long relationships with most of their sponsors that it doesn't matter. That most of his videos will already deviate 10-20% in views, and he doesn't charge sponsors more if a random video does 7 million views more than what they paid for, and he doesn't give money back if the video flops and does 1 million less views than his channel doesn't do. They have a working understanding that YouTube is this nebulous up and down situation. But that's not fucking true for your favorite Pokemon speedrunner doing 100,000 views a video. That's not going to be true for your favorite fat Indian podcast transferee. You know what I mean? And this one, again, wasn't run by anybody, wasn't asked, wasn't polled, wasn't tested. We don't even have a blog post or anything from YouTube explaining what this is. All the information about this sudden drop in viewership is just coming from people like me and Linus and Red Letter Media and Super Eye Patch Wolf and Second Wind and whomever who have decided to take the time to make a video talking about this. Ultimately to viewers who probably won't give a shit, except the restricted feature. I mean, make sure you have that off if you don't want it, or YouTube is hiding your favorite YouTubers from you. This brings me to my main point, which is that it's something that I've thought about as a result of this. Does YouTube care? Does YouTube give a shit? At the end of the day, if somebody as big as Linus, Super Eye Patch Wolf, Red Letter Media, 1 million, 10 million plus subscribers, can be affected by something YouTube does that culminates in millions of views disappearing from their channel, I mean, you can say that YouTube doesn't care if they demonetize your videos or copyright restrict or hide your videos for being edgy, unpopular, disliked a ton, whatever, right? You can always be like, whatever, that's the bottom tier YouTubers. Like, they only care about Mr. Beast. At the point that it starts affecting YouTubers at 100,000 subs, 1 million subs, 10 million subs, as the examples that I've talked about have all spanned that gamut of the size of creator, who does YouTube care about? At what point does YouTube go, hey, we got to make sure this doesn't completely ruin the experience, the channel, the video viewership of... Where does it end? Veritasium, Mr. Beast, Mark Rober? Like, so long as it isn't fucking up Mr. Beast's channel, does YouTube genuinely not care about the ramifications that it has on... I mean, I feel like these are some pretty big creators I'm talking about, right? If YouTube only had the top 10% of channels, that's like a random number I'm throwing out. If they only cared about the top 10% of YouTube viewers, which I'm going to do a quick Google here. How many subs does the top 10% of YouTubers have? So AI overview says it's impossible to know, but only 0.3% of creators have over 10 million. That means the top 10% would likely be higher than 10 million subs. That doesn't sound right, but let's go with it. So if YouTube only cared about the top 10% of creators, which I cannot believe this is true, I refuse to believe this is true, which means it is only people who have, let's say, 1 million subs or more, could they get away without caring about that bottom 90%? Not delete everybody who has under 1 million subs. Obviously, YouTube would feel that in terms of size, popularity, influence, and probably even the ad money that they bring in. But like, can they just use that bottom 9%, that bottom 90% as fucking guinea pigs? Can you make drastic changes, introduce A/B testing, remove thumbnails, introduce auto dubbing? Can you fuck with 90% of YouTubers And if they quit, they quit. If they don't make money from sponsors, who cares? If they don't make money from ads because we're A/B testing shit or taking it away or copyright striking every video as a test, can they get away with that? Can you just fuck with 90% of the creator ecospace and you'll still make the money back on that top 10%? Let's just cater to the absolute challenger tier of YouTubers. I think maybe. I think they can, and I think they have that mentality where it's like, so long as we aren't fucking up the bag for 5-minute crafts and Mr. Beast and commentary channels and anybody else who does ridiculous viewership, we can fuck with the smallest creators with copyright strikes, false flags, automatic demonetization, auto dubbing, randomly make the fuck it. Hey, Jarvis, make this guy Chinese. Fucking who cares? You have less than 1 million subs. Fuck, you're Indonesian now. Fuck you. You're from Singapore. Oh, you think you don't speak Japan? You speak Japan now, bitch. Your channel's Japanese. We're gonna replace all your fucking videos with origami. Don't like it? Fuck you. Get more subs. We're YouTube. We can do whatever we want. Not Mr. Beast, though. Mr. Beast is not Chinese. I'm very curious to see what this is, because like the one data point that's sticking out to me is the fact that Linus says that he's making about the same amount of money despite the lower amount of views. If that was the only data point I had, I would assume visual bug. I would assume that YouTube isn't counting the views from people who are like not logged in, don't have or do have an ad blocker, haven't verified their age with a driver's license. Maybe they wanted to see what that would look like, and they're still running ads and they're still getting everything, so you're making the same money, but your views are like down, quote unquote. It's just not counting views that are actually there because they want to see what that looks like. Then that would make sense to me. But because I don't have that how much money you're making number for all the channels, for Super Eye Patch Wolf, Red Letter Media, or even my own, because I took a 2-week hiatus to figure out this podcast thing, and I changed styles. Right around August is when I started doing the no green screen thing. So if I saw a lack of money or views on my channel, I can be like, oh, I changed a bunch of shit. That must be why. It's only because I've seen so many other people talk about it that I've even noticed that it's a real thing and not just my channel. But the fact that his money is the same is like, it can't just be a visual bug, because that money has to come from somewhere. And if the RPMs are also going up, that means that money is coming from the views that they are seeing. So it can't be ghost viewership. It can't be hidden analytics. I don't know. We kind of got to wait until YouTube actually says something on the matter, which thankfully now that big YouTubers are speaking up about the situation, hopefully we'll get some more insight into it. For the time being, though, it's just another stupid thing YouTube is doing to make it harder for YouTubers to be YouTubers. And I don't know why it's so common that they do it, but as with every other change to the algorithm, the ecosystem, and the way that YouTube works, the situations are the same. If you like a channel like this one, and you made it to the end of the Schpodcast, so I would assume you at least, if you're awake, give a shit about me, like the video, because it seems as though the people who are liking videos are still getting those videos recommended to them. So if you like watching my videos, leave a like. Support your favorite YouTubers on Patreon if you can. I've already uploaded a bonus podcast episode talking about why I'm doing podcasts right now. So if you subscribe on Patreon for just $5 a month, not only do you get every bonus thing that I've uploaded so far, but you also get a whole nother half podcast episode. That's like another half hour of me talking about why I decided to do podcasts, future guests, and things like that. And every episode in the future, you can even watch this video with no YouTube ads for free on Patreon. If you pay the $5, you don't pay anything to watch it on Patreon, and there's no ads over there. Same bitrate, same quality, same everything. Little bit useless to tell you that now at the end of the episode, but going forward, you can watch all these on Patreon with no ads and get bonus videos and get behind the scenes stuff, all of that. Do that for creators that you actually give a shit about. If there's anybody on YouTube that you watch, and there's even a small part of you that's like, if this guy stopped making videos, I would be a little bit sad, consider throwing them $5 on Patreon. I know it seems like nothing, but if you do it and like 30 people do it, like it's the difference between some people quitting making videos and not quitting making videos. It's the number one thing you can do for most creators. But that's it for me. 10% off gamer subs using my link in the description. They have a new drop Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern. This video is probably going out before that, so wait for 3 p.m. Eastern to buy something on gamer subs. They're going to have all new merch, as well as 10% off into the AM using my link in the description. If you want to pick up the new fall bundle that they've got, please do that. But otherwise, subscribe, turn on the bell, press like, send me a letter in the mail, tape a picture of my channel to the front of your car, and when people ask you about it, you'll be like, oh shit, that's right, I gotta check out Sumito Medio's channel. Do crazy shit. I don't know. The fucking website is working against us to try to make videos. They're now actively working against you from even seeing the videos you want to do. I don't know. Put a sticky note on your monitor with a list of all your favorite channels and check that out every week, because apparently you can't rely on YouTube to tell you when new videos are out so you can watch the videos on YouTube. Holy shit, I hate this website. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys on the next one. See you on Patreon. Peace.